Hey everybody, it's Big Mess. Let's tie one of these, the magic fly. Hey everybody, welcome back to How to Tie with your guide, Big Mess at Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Appalachian_flies on Instagram. Here in my Norvise fly tying system, I have the fly we call the magic fly. I want to spin one of those up there for you this afternoon. First thing that we need is we need to take our hook, which is a Daiichi. It's a 1730. This is a size 12. It's actually a nymph hook or wet style fly hook. But I do like it because it has the bent shank. For those of you folks that have been tying stimulators for a long time, you recall that you actually would have to bend the shank on the original pattern for that particular fly. The thread I'm using is some 8.0 classic wax Semper fly in olive. I've got that spun up here in my Norvise. To be honest with you, this is the fourth time I've tried this. Everything technology-wise has gone wrong for me this afternoon. So just bear with me. We'll see if the fourth time is a lucky go for us. Next material is going to be some of this olive Nature Spirit. It is Stimulator hair. I like it because of the length of the fibers. It grades out really well. They do a good job of grading this out and dyeing it. And this color here is one of the key components of this particular pattern. Feel free to tie it in many different colors. And if you're looking for some of these materials, of course, you can reach us at the shop, 828-488-3333. We can get those materials out to you. Our website, flyshopusa.com. Not everything is on there, but you can also personally email me at shannon@tuckflyshop.com with a list of items you're looking for, and I can get that in the mail to you. So we're taking a small clump of our hair, which is going to be your tail. Kind of the way to measure that is maybe like your, the gap width in through there is a good way to do that. And what I like to do is start tying the fibers in at this particular point here. I spin my thread counterclockwise, and then I start doing loose wraps going back, doing my best to make sure I keep the hair on top of the hook as much as I can. It's not always perfect, but I try to do the best I can. Then I get back up front here and I really torque down on it. There we go. I'm going to lift up these butt end fibers here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to trim those, and then we'll secure those down here real nicely. And see, for the most part, most of those fibers did stay up top. I'm going to rotate my vise here right quick. Hopefully there's not too much wobble in the camera as I do that. If there is, just kind of feel like you're in a virtual reality game. I'll do some loose wraps back here around the tail section. Come up here and make sure I really got that tied in really well. Okay. The next material I'm going to use is going to be a whiting. It's a Grizzly Hackle. It's been dyed March brown. One of the other colors you can use on this is kind of an olive grizzly, or a kind of a pale yellow grizzly works well also. The Dominecker, just a grizzly itself, does not work well, and the brown does not work well. Definitely have found that it has to be close to these color combinations for this fly to be pretty effective. So if you're going to tie up some of these, and I encourage you, because this fly is taking fish all the way from the Tahoe area of California to Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and that's why it's been kind of called the magic fly. The next component in this particular fly is a kind of a blend of dubbing that's olive and brown, and it's kind of got a red or burgundy type color to it. It's got some UV properties to it as well. And it was just some stuff that kind of threw together off the tying desk one day there at the shop. So what I'm doing now is I'm attempting to spin my dubbing up here on to the thread. Like I said, it's been a challenging day for sure when it comes to this. So I'm going to start wrapping this back here to the back. And I'm going to come forward with this here. I'm going to change the tension knob on my vise so I can just kind of walk that there briefly. And as we get closer, it's going to get a little buggy up there toward that point. And if you want it any buggier, feel free to take a piece of Velcro or, half-inch tool, Bach, anything like that, and just kind of rip the heck out of it. Do find that the rattier it looks, the better it does fish. So I tend not to try to clean out some of this stuff. I leave it looking kind of gnarly for sure. We have found that definitely being the best. No doubt about that. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our hackle. We're going to make some spiral wraps coming forward. And I'm not too concerned about that tail splaying back there either. That's perfectly fine. It's going to help with floatability. It's not that big of a deal. So I want to capture this here. You see I made those open spiral wraps through that body section. I'm going to rotate that Nor vise into the next indexing point. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to trim that out. I'm going to put a couple half inches. There's 1, 2 half inches, just like that. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down a thread base up here quite nicely. And we're going to do that. Now I'm ready for my next material, which, as you probably could guess, is going to be more of the same hair that we use for the tail. It's going to be the wing. If you want to take this wing, you can make it as bulky as you want or as thin as you want, whatever floats your boat. Certainly, if you want to add a little bit of high-vis material, such as white or pink or orange, that you feel like is going to aid you in seeing this in low light conditions, certainly feel free to do so. That's easy to do. Even a little bit of bleached hair can actually help with that as well. But I would recommend tying that in after you have this secured, of course, and adding that material to it. I'm going to tap that here on my desk. Once again, making you part of that as the camera shakes just a little bit. I want you to be here as much as you can with me, giving you the full lifetime experience here at the Messer House, because it has been something to be seen here lately. All right. So we got this here. Want to make sure we got all of our fibers cleaned out as best we can. It's like a pretty good clump to me. And I typically try to match this up to the length of my tail section back here. I'm going to take my thread. I'm going to spin it. If you heard that noise, that's the dishwasher. Of course, I think Jill barked a little earlier. Just not a big deal. They were just here at the house, folks. Y'all go through the same thing. Here we go. I got those fibers in there just like that. What I'm going to do now is going to take my half-inch tool. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to put me a series of half inches in there, just like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a little bit of a haircut, trim these off, just like so. And I'm just going to lash them down. That way we've got really good contact points on this hair, because this fly is going to get eat up by the fish for sure. You can fish this in a little bit faster water. You can fish it on the edges. You can fish it in still water if you want to. Do a little twitching motion to it if you'd like. If you want to, certainly feel free to use a non-slip loop knot when you tie this to your tippet section. That way it has a little bit more freedom of movement. Heck, also can be a difference in, sometimes getting a strike and not getting a strike, just the way that the fly naturally moves on the water. So the next thing I want to do is take some rubber legs. This here just happens to be brown. You can use olive, you can use brown, you can use black. Brown just happens to be the closest thing in the drawer here behind me. So I'm going to use brown. As you can tell, I'm not too terribly picky when it comes to certain materials. I always say use what you got. Try not to waste a whole lot, and you'll be in good shape. So I'll get that spun up right there like so. I want to splay that out to the sides there momentarily. Bear with me, just like that. I'm going to rotate my vise, which is nice about this here. Whammo. All right. So if you folks don't have a Nor vise and you're really interested in it, I want to tell you the gospel about it. It's a tool. It holds your hook, but it does a whole lot more for you than that. You can use it to manipulate your definitely your hook, your materials. You can use it to your advantage. There's less fatigue when it comes to tying because you can rotate the vise and wrap your materials on as well. I feel like you can get a more consistent tie because you get more consistent applications of your materials onto the fly you're tying. And overall, the slogan is called "Tie Better Flies Faster." I believe that to be the truth. However, it also allows you to tie a quality fly, and that's a lot of times is often forgotten in the fly tying world. People think about speed instead of quality. You have quality fly and it's working for you, you can fish that fly through most of the day, if not all day, put it back in your box, and you can fish it again another day. That's what I like to do. That's why I have so many flies. That's why I give away a lot of flies, is because they hold up, they're durable. And that's the key. And it's actually more cost effective if you're tying a few flies from home. The better tie you do, the less time you have to spend at the vise. Time is a new currency in a lot of ways with the kind of the pandemic way to look at it, but it just makes it a whole lot easier for you to spend more time on the water, of course. So I want to put a little half hitch in right here. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to take my bobbin over to the bobbin holder. I want to grab my whiting hackle here right quick. I want to start walking it forward. Now what I do is I do have the tension knob on my Norvise pretty tight, and I'm just going to use that so I can manipulate that up as slow as I want to up through here and make sure I get those wraps where I want them. And I'm going to stop this about right in here. And now I'm going to bring my bobbin back over off the bobbin cradle, where the auto bobbin is key for that. Now I'm going to wrap back. I'm catching that stem just like so. I've got it good and caught right there. I'm going to take my half hitch tool. Once again, you can use your fingers or you can use your tool. Push those fibers out of the way. You can do a couple things. You can take your scissors in here. You can reach in and grab it, pull it forward and cut it. Or, as I do a lot of times, the way I tie that in, I can actually just pull it and it'll break off as well. Once again, a little trick that if you tie a lot of flies, it's a little bit more efficient. I'm going to do a double whip finish here with my Semper fly. Classic wax thread, just like so. Redundancy, so if something goes wrong, you've got a backup plan. Snip, reach in here, Dr. Slick scissors. Now I'm going to take a little bit of UV resin. Going to open this up momentarily. It's going to take just a little bit, it doesn't take much. You can use super glue. You can use Sally Hansen's, hard as nails, water-based, it don't matter. Make sure the eye of my hook is clean. Whammo. And then I'm going to take my UV torch. I'm going to hit it about 3 to 5 seconds. We are good to go with that. And the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to come in here, pull that forward, clip it, and I'm going to pull my legs down. I want to give them a haircut. Try to give them about as even as we can. Just get it close. And the one thing you can do out there on the water is you can make adjustments to this fly. So if you leave your legs a little long and you feel like they're hindering you, you certainly can cut them when you're on the water. Just like this. Okay. I feel like that's really good to start with. The other thing you can do if you want to, if you see these things are, these fish at times will hit flies under the water more so than they'll hit them up top. If you wanted to come in here and take this here and maybe like buzz it down really good and sink it, look like an injured or a crippled stonefly, that could work there for you as well. Don't be afraid to mess with your flies when you're on the water. If you can see right there as I rotate that, maybe you can see the glowing of the UV. It's another one of the things that I believe adds a little bit of fish catchability to this particular pattern. I fish it in 12s most of the time, this particular size right here. You can downsize it a little bit, but I wouldn't go much smaller than that. And this here is what we call the magic fly. Have any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up there at Shannon@tuckflyshop.com. Be sure to give us a thumbs up on the video if you like. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Feel free to share with your friends. And we look forward to seeing you in the next fly time video. Y'all take care.